Welcome to the Ideal Investor Show. Join us on the journey to financial success. Let's go. Today, I want to touch on something that has gotten a little bit more media attention, and especially in the investor community in the real estate and residential real estate. And that is the question about fractional real estate investing. So the question is it just a short-term thing, that comes and everybody's excited and then goes away? Or is it something longer term and for the future? So I can tell you that I'm invested in fractional real estate for the last 4 years now. And the way I use it is actually to park some of my cash flow to have a reserve. Now, just to explain really quick, what does fractional real estate investing actually mean? Just imagine we had a house, and I know this is a very fictional house that you could find, nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in a nice neighborhood, and you could find it for $100,000. I'm only using this number because it makes the math really easy. So instead of an investor buying this house outright for cash for $100,000, in a tokenized real estate investing scheme, somebody organizes a platform, something similar to like a Facebook and Instagram. That's considered a platform. So in this case, it would be a platform where this house would basically be described. And the organization that has created that platform buys the house for $100,000 and then immediately creates a limited liability company, an LLC, and it turns the ownership of that house into the LLC. So now that LLC, let's say Pretty House number 1 LLC, owns that house. And then to make it a tokenized or fractional real estate property, this LLC is being created to have 2,000 tokens or shares, if you want. So you take the $100,000, that is the value of the house, and you say, if I take it into individual pieces for $50 each, I do $2,050 pieces. You can call them tokens, you can call them stocks, you can call them shares. So now we put that house with pictures and descriptions and so forth on the platform, and then we say, okay, anybody can buy tokens, stocks, shares in this house for $50 each. Right, so the ownership of the house goes from originally the platform owners that turned it into an LLC to the people who buy these tokens. So that's fundamentally the process. Now, I don't know, let's say 50 people bought the tokens, and all the tokens for this house are now owned by these 50 people. What's also an interesting thing is, because of the way most of these platforms are set up, is that the rent that is being collected is distributed to the owners in the LLC on a daily basis. Now you have actually created a situation that is very similar to the stock market. The house is basically like a company. The company has shares, and the shares, stocks, tokens, whatever name you prefer, can be traded and can be bought and can be sold. And because the rent is being paid every day instead of every month, at the end of every day, everybody knows exactly what's going on with the property. It works the best, obviously, when the property was bought in cash, is rented out to tenants, and the rent that comes in is obviously paid out on a daily basis, but part of the rent is also being kept aside for property management, for taxes, for insurance, and so forth. So let's say you have that $100,000 property and $1,000 rent comes in every month and is distributed on a daily basis, but only after taxes, insurance, and property management, and maybe a little bit for a reserve has been taken away. So let's say we would have $600 left of the rent. The rest is gone for expenses. Now we divide those $600 into 30 days, right? So that's basically $20 per day. And that $20 per day is distributed across the 2,000 share stock tokens. That means every day you get a few cents if you own like 5 or 10 or 15 of those share stock tokens. The beauty is, if you say, okay, like I have done, I bought $2,000 worth of these tokens in this property, and I bought it with money that I want to have in a reserve. 3 months later, something happens to one of my other properties, investment properties that I own, and I need to pay a few $100s for a repair. Now I can go on the platform and say, okay, I need a few $100s. I'm selling half of my tokens. And because everything is settled every day with the rent, I can sell my tokens any day, just like I can sell stocks on the stock market every day. First question, is it a future or a current thing? Is it going to last, or is it just a fad that came up and it's going to go away? I think it's going to last because you can own parts of real estate and you literally own it. It's not a syndication, it's not an ETF, it's not a real estate investing trust. There are no other managers, other property management. The only difference between straight out owning a house and owning 50 or 100 or 20 of the tokens in a house is that you own the house through the company with other people. But everything legally is the same. You get your tax benefits, you get your depreciation, you get your appreciation, you get part of your rental income. Everything is the same as if you were to own the whole house. And tokenized real estate is the only thing that I know, other than like literally straight out buying a house, where you can do it that way. And that also makes it so attractive. And so when I say we are parking our reserve there, is because anytime we need a little bit of money out of the reserve to pay for something in our main portfolio, we can do it any day. The house doesn't have to be sold, only the tokens change hands. Just like in the stock market, the company doesn't get sold, the stocks of the company get sold from somebody who wants to sell to somebody who wants to buy. So that's basically why I believe the answer to the original question is no, it's going to stay around. It might even grow further because it opens the opportunity for all kinds of people to start investing in residential real estate at $50 at a time. That's at least the price most tokens are priced at, right? Where else can you buy residential real estate with all the benefits that I already mentioned many times before at $50, $100, $300, $500? And you can put a little bit of money aside every month to say, I want to do some residential real estate investing, but I don't have enough money to buy a whole house. Well, you can buy tokens at $50 a piece. So that's why I think it's not a fad. And then the other thing is obviously for anybody who's doing anything in crypto, most of the platforms are also allow payments in crypto. And then you buy the tokens with crypto. Now, how is it different? Same thing that applies for any property anywhere in the country applies for fractional real estate as well. If that $100,000 house is in a horrible neighborhood with lots of crime and bad schools and bad shopping and so forth, then you will have the issues with the tenants and you will never make the money that you're expecting to make with it. If, on the other hand, that house is in a nice neighborhood, you can find stable tenants who really like to live there, then it's a great investment. But that is not really related to the fact that it is fractional real estate versus full real estate. It has to do with the same thing in any real estate. The location, the surroundings, the true value, the neighborhood is ultimately what makes the value. So as long as you pay attention that you only invest in fractional real estate where the property is in the right neighborhood and is living up to the expectations of the original description, just like when you go to a real estate agent and say, tell me about a house, I have this amount of money. As long as all that is given, it's exactly the same as if you own the whole house. So I hope that was informative and you learned a little bit. I hope you download this episode, you give it a rating, and you are a frequent listener, for which I want to thank you. And that's it for today. Be well and stay safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.